Well, hello, everybody. My name is Dr. Pauline Crawford, and I'm here to talk to you about being your own boss, taking up the style of an entrepreneur and an entreprenologist, because I know that you have got the most amazing talent, and together you can make a difference in the world. So I want to start by saying it's absolutely a delight to be here with you. I am thrilled to be talking to you all the way from the United States of America. I live here, although I do come from Great Britain, from London, England. So I'm here to say, so you want to be your own boss? And to touch on the subject of entreprenology. So do you want to be your own boss? Or maybe you want to work for somebody who wants to be their own boss. You don't all have to be an entrepreneur, but I'm going to talk about the possibilities and the choices that you could actually make and that I made in my life over many, many decades. I always knew there was something I was passionate about that I wanted to do, and I hadn't really thought about being my own boss when I was a small girl and when I was a teenager, because to be honest, it wasn't so available. Today, you've got so many options available to you. You're able to get on the internet and do all sorts of things that I couldn't do when I was a teenager. So let's take a look at these excited people who want to be their own boss. What on earth is that all about? Well, to start with, we're going to take a look at the steps that you need to be thinking about in order to make a difference in your world, in your life. And if you want to do that, these are the choices. So the steps are simple but complicated. The first thing is to have a vision for yourself and a vision for the world around you, a vision for your village, a village for your city, a village for your nation. And you have to have a lot of belief. I want to see that belief smiling on your faces. You've been enjoying the day here with David Douglas and all the other speakers and being motivated and inspired. So your belief is about you and your possibilities. And it's about purpose. What is your purpose? Why do you get up in the morning? Now you might say, well, I go to school. So what is your purpose at school? What do you enjoy doing best? What classes make you thrilled? What are the classes that you think, yeah, I can do this easily? And then the other classes that are not so easy. That's okay. I want you to focus on the ones that you do easily, because that's where your purpose is and also where your ideas are going to come from. When we get into our natural way of being, we find the ideas. Now, it might be a small idea, might be a huge idea. It might change your nation. It might change your life. But even if it's a very tiny idea, it's something that will help you and help others. So you ignite it with passion. And this is why I said, I want you to think about the times in your day, the classes you go to where you just really think, I'm in my element. I know what I'm doing. I do this well. Some of the subjects we don't do so naturally well. I did maths very well, and I did languages really badly. So I know that my natural instincts was around that. And I know that that added value to me. So the way is that you have a vision, you believe in it, you have a purpose, an idea, and we're going to look at how you can do something with that idea and become an entrepreneur. Your passion and value is all about you. It's about combining the knowledge you have to date, the experience you have to date, be that at school or outside of school, whatever you've been doing. But I want you to use your imagination, because that is what will help you become your own boss. It's not an easy ride, but if you want to be your own boss, then you need to use your imagination. And guess what? It's free. It's wonderful. But the main thing is it's the value cycle that you really need to hook onto now. The me, that's each one of you. You are special. Whether you become a boss or you work for somebody else who's your boss, that's okay. But you are special. And you want to find out what's special about you by thinking about what you enjoy doing best. Because then you get into relationships, the me and you. And if you're going to be a boss, you need to work with people. If you want to work with a boss, you want to work with people. So relationships are really important. And that's how we create the we, the business, the enterprise, whatever it is you want to do, that's a possibility. So yes, there's lots of things to learn along the way, but we all have to start somewhere. And I want to introduce you to Kevin Doe. He actually started at the age of 13. He was collecting scrap and metal, discarded devices, rubbish at the age of 10, because he wanted to solve his neighbor's intermittent electricity supply and rolling blackouts. Now, by the time he made this gadget, he was 13. And thanks to going on the internet, he was actually noticed by MIT to showcase his incredible talent. He now has his own foundation. Anything is possible. And I want you to think about this word, imagination. This is the most important part about being an entrepreneur, being your own boss, being eventually what I call an entreprenologist. So that is somebody who goes way and beyond. And I will show you a couple of people who you will know. Imagination is more important than knowledge. And I'm not doubting any knowledge that you know now, but knowledge is limited and imagination encircles the world. So my story, very briefly, I was born a long time ago. I was a teenager in the 60s. I was a mother in my 30s, and I became a businesswoman in my 40s and 50s. And I worked in England, across Europe, and then I worked in Malaysia for 4 years, and now I'm in the USA. So I'm very privileged to be in my dream. The future belongs to those who believe in the beauty of their dreams. And I want you to think about that vision, that passion, that purpose. What is your dream? You can change the world one day at a time. So what are we going to do? I wanted to show you that I did reach this stage. I reached lots of stages in London, in Malaysia. And of course, through COVID and pandemic, I started to go online. So here I am to you online. And my passion and my idea was to design something that helps boys and girls, men and women, to understand who they are and how they build those relationships. More about that another time. I want to just make you think about what you want to do. You might go into the clothesline. You might decide to work with an older generation. There are all sorts of different ways you could work. You might work on your own. You might be in the beauty world or the construction world, in the cookery world. And you might even think about starting a family business. These are all options that we can look at. Because the best way to predict the future is to create it. This very famous man, Peter Drucker, wrote many, many good things. And I just want to remind all the girls in the room that women-owned businesses are the fastest growing influence in the entrepreneur market. There's difficulties along the way, but make sure you think about everybody in the room. You are all the potential there is in the future. So who are the famous names that we know? Steve Jobs, I'm sure you know this man. Richard Branson, who's made several businesses, and Elon Musk. These are people that we've all heard about. And what's really interesting is they have changed the world without going to serious academic universities. And I'm not putting any university down. All I'm saying is there are different options, there are different choices. And if you do feel that you're a visionary and that you can go further, it's slightly about not being traditional. It's taking all the lessons from what you've learned. Absolutely. Knowledge is really important, but remember, it's about experience. It's about what Kevin Doe did. He wanted to make a difference, and so he did. Now, who are the people in your country and your continent? So these African entrepreneurs are from all across Africa. And your task, your homework is to go and find out who they are. Because I just did it by looking on Google. But find out who they are and find out what was core to their future. And this is my gift to you. Core is simply this. Make a choice. Choose to do whatever you're going to do to the best possible energy level. You might not want to be a boss. You might want to work for somebody else. You may want to go to college. You may want to work in your family business. There are all sorts of choices. I'm not saying there's only one, but there is a choice to take ownership of your idea. And if that's something you want to do, then we're here to help you. Ownership is really important. And I bet you all of these people on the screen here had failures and had successes. And notice there's only one woman, and there needs to be more, because women have the most amazing potential. So boys and girls in the room, I want you to take responsibility for who and what you are together. You may be moving into a different arena when you leave school, but think about how you take responsibility for your idea. There's not owners, it's your idea. Your idea might just be something that will change the energy of your village, of your city, of your nation. And I know that David Douglas is an amazing entreprenologist himself. He sees the world differently. He sees it multiplied and expansive. This is what you can do if you want to be an entrepreneur. The entrepreneur always searches for change, responds to it, and exploits it as an opportunity. So your vision is your opportunity to resolve something that might impact your world. Steve Jobs changed the world entirely. Now that we have personal PCs, we have Apple, we have iPhones, we have a way of connecting across the world. Lots of other people have built on that as well. And remember, engage your knowledge, applaud what you've learned at school. That's really important. Your lessons are your secret source of resources. But remember your experience in your imagination and start sharing with each other. What is it we want to do? Where do we want to go? How far are you going to stretch yourself out? What's in the unknown? Remember, Kevin Doe has now got a foundation and supported by MIT. You can do the same. This is a wide and beautiful world. And Steve Jobs said, the ones who are crazy enough to think that they can change the world are the ones who do. And maybe you can too. So I would like to thank you for listening to this piece. I hope to pop in later on and answer any questions that you've got. But just remember that entreprenology is the art and science of entrepreneurship. And if you want to be your own boss, you need to think about being an entrepreneurial mindset beyond tradition. Thank you for your time.